Today's announcement on interest rates looming, a lot of focus will, of course, be on how this impacts people with mortgages. But what about people who rent? 1 in 7 tenants in the UK will have been hit with a rent increase over the past month, according to the charity Shelter. The average rent outside London has just hit a record high, reaching an average of £1,162 per month between July and September. Now, Levelling Up and Housing Secretary Michael Gove has said targeted support would be offered to renters across the UK to be able to pay their landlords, but it doesn't sound like great news for Generation Rent. What's going on this market? I'm delighted to be joined now by the director of Priced Out, Freddie Poser. And is there any good news for renters at all? Just generally?
No, not really. Unfortunately, as interest rates have gone up, we've seen a lot of landlords leave the market, which has meant that fewer properties are available to rent. We've obviously not been building any properties for decades, so that, combined with the cost of living, means that renters are seeing a huge amount of their income go instantly out the door straight away, and I don't see it getting better soon.
It is remarkable. We've got a graph here of how house prices have risen in relation to wages. This is research done by the New Statesman, and it just goes to show that until the late 90s, wage increases and house price increases relatively tracked each other. You know, it's still expensive to buy a house, but you were increasing your earning ability with house price increases. And then from the turn of the millennium, suddenly you see house price increases just go wildly above average earnings. It is the most extraordinary situation, and it's only been getting worse.
Absolutely. So in that graph, you'll have two main components there. You'll have some financial effects, so cheap money tends to inflate the headline price of the house. But it's also, on the flip side, in that case, easier to get a mortgage. But a significant portion of that is just sheer undersupply. We haven't built enough homes. And this is bad for both renters and people who are trying to get on the housing ladder as well. I know friends who have recently just gone on the housing ladder, and maybe they got a 3-year fix, and they're looking at their rates going up massively as well. These massively increased house prices, nothing's going to get better unless we build more homes.
It's really extraordinary to see the condition in which some people are living, particularly in London, where there is the biggest demand and perhaps the greatest shortfall of supply to meet that demand. There's one video that's been doing the rounds on an app called TikTok, where someone shows their 1-bed room, which I think we can see now for those watching on television. We'll be able to get up this here. There's someone who's living in what looks like a broom cupboard, but this is not a broom cupboard. It is his entire living situation, with a bed sort of hoisted up high and some sort of desk crammed in underneath, where this man works from home in conditions that I suppose even an 11-year-old Harry Potter would seem to be pretty cramped. This is the condition in which some people are living in central London.
Absolutely, and possibly the worst part about that is I dread to think how much he's paying for that single room. The fact is that people are being forced into smaller and smaller accommodation of lower and lower quality. Also on TikTok, as you mentioned, there are lots of videos of people with damp, for example, throughout their whole house, completely unlivable situations. But because there's no competition in the market, landlords know that they're going to be able to get a huge amount of rent out of, frankly, unacceptably bad properties.
And some